So, this video, I'm going to talk about how it's always good to get confirmation, even about ghost stories you've heard growing up. This is a tale growing up in high school in the 80s. Everyone in my area of Connecticut talked about this cemetery, which they called Hookman's Cemetery, which is actually Great Hill Cemetery in the town of Seymour. The tale, as told then, was that the cemetery had a caretaker. It was a man with a hook for a hand, of course, and apparently hung himself from a tree in the cemetery. And supposedly, if you park under that tree, which is along the road, your car won't start. You're stuck there. Things start to happen. Of course, anything that would scare the heck out of anyone in high school or younger person. So one night, myself and two friends, they had a car. I did not. A friend of ours, we drive up together at night to the cemetery, and it's very secluded part of the town of Seymour, out in the western part of town where it's all woods, and this cemetery is right there at the intersection of two roads. So we drive up to the cemetery at night and get there and look into the cemetery, and it goes up a hill. You can see it in the thumbnail for this video. It goes up a hill, and then there's a wooded line at the top, line of trees at the top where the woods start. The cemetery ends. So there's no real access road we could find into this cemetery. You basically walk in from the road. Anyway, so we get to there, we stop, pull over. It's dark, and right off the bat, we noticed right at the top of the hill, up by the trees, there's two headlights from a car. And like, okay, what are they doing in the cemetery this time of night? Why is there a car parked in there? Are they partying? Keg party, whatever, in the cemetery at night. So we drive up the side street to figure out what's going on. And of course, there's no entrance to the cemetery going up this side street. And we get towards the top, and there's the headlights, but there's no entrance, there's no driveway, there's no way to drive into this cemetery. It's all foot access, and we can't figure out where these headlights were coming from. We didn't hear a car running or anything like that, and it's like, okay, this is freaky. Turn around, and we skedaddled. So always thought that was a little strange. There must be a logical explanation for this, but it's still stuck in your head. How did a car get into the middle of a cemetery in the woods? So when I was home last month, October, doing the ghost tours of our church, talked to a friend of mine, and we were, telling ghost stories or whatever. And she relayed a tale. I think I mentioned Hookman Cemetery, and she said, "Oh, I won't go back to that place." She said, the time we went up there at night, we get there, and there were two headlights up in the top of the cemetery. And she said there was no road to get in there. We don't know how these headlights got in there. How did a car get in there? And I said, holy cow, that's exactly the same experience we had. So I've checked online for all the stories that I could find. The website Damned Connecticut has a lot of these locations documented, and there was nothing about headlights in their article about this. So if you grew up in the valley around Seymour, Connecticut, and you have a story, please put it in the comments. But just freaky that she validated everything we had seen way back in the 1980s in high school. So don't always discount your memories. Sometimes they're a little more accurate than you remember. But I just thought that was a very interesting tale and very good confirmation of something that we try to forget about. But you never know. You never know who has seen what until you ask. So if you have an experience at the cemetery, please put it in the comments. But I just thought that was an amusing tale. And of course, next week I will be back home, and I'm supposed to check out supposed haunting of a cafe in Connecticut. I was invited to do so. So stay tuned. I might have a good tale from next weekend.